Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. In the headlines, Governor Uti says Abia opposition members lobbying for negotiation and settlement. INEC validates Mark Aregbeshola's others as ADC's national officers. And Natasha's suspension of face mass action, NLC warns Senate. Federal government scraps 5% telecom tax on voice data services. Nopeng Dangote frustrating resolutions reached at federal government brokered truce. And INEC says 150 associations fail party registration. On business news, stakeholders disagree with new tax reform. Nigeria eyes mining, agriculture to balance trade with South Africa. On the foreign scene, President Trump deports first set of Nigerians, and on sports, Mikel Obi, NFF should be disbanded. Now the news. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has said that members of the opposition who are accusing his administration of corruption are actually interested in settlement, negotiation, recognition, or preparing for election. He stated this in Aba during the Aba Stakeholders Security Trust fundraising luncheon. He addressed the Aba business community, reiterating that his administration recognizes security as the bedrock of development and assured them that no Abia State money, including the funds realized for security, will be mismanaged under his watch. The Abia governor, who slammed the claims by his opponents that Abia State's money is missing, told Abia people to sleep as their money is safe and can't go missing under his watch. He assured Abians that there is nothing like opposition but a few people who want to get recognition and want to be settled. He said some want negotiations while others are preparing to run an election, so they want to be relevant. He announced that the newly reconstructed Port Harcourt Road, Aba, would be commissioned on the 3rd day of October, alongside 6 other roads by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Aba. He further announced that the Abia State government has signed all necessary documents for commencement of work at the long-abandoned Eyimba Hotel, Aba. Earlier in his address, the chairman of the occasion, Leo Ike Okoye, thanked the governor for his achievements in security, infrastructure, and water in Aba and other parts of the state, and appealed for more support to the governor. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has validated the change in the national leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, confirming former Senate President David Mark as the national chairman of the coalition opposition party. The other members of the party's national officers, according to the official website of the commission, include former Osun State Governor Ogbeni Rauf Aregbeshola, Mani Ibrahim Ahmad, and Akibu Dalhatu as the National Secretary, National Treasurer, and National Financial Secretary, respectively. Only last month, the electoral umpire, while denying the ADC leadership recognition, claimed that it was yet to receive the report of the party's National Executive Committee NEC meeting that ratified its emergence. The commission also disclosed that the non-submission of Mark and Aregbeshola's specimen signature was what was holding up their recognition, noting that former ADC National Chairman Ralph Nwosu was still communicating with it in official correspondence after the party had notified it that there was a change of leadership. However, perhaps bowing to pressure, the electoral umpires reflected the change in the leadership of the coalition opposition party on its official website. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has warned leadership of the National Assembly to rethink its continued decision to bar Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from performing her sacred constitutional duties. President of the NLC, Comrade Joe Ajero, in a statement said the Congress will not stand idly by while leadership of the National Assembly cannibalize the nation's democracy, vowed to mobilize members against what he described as a descent into legislative dictatorship and democratic anarchy. Meanwhile, the Secretary General of the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Group, Afenifere, Chief Shola Ebiseni, condemned the decision of the Nigerian Senate to bar Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from resuming her legislative duties despite the completion of her 6-month suspension. Speaking with journalists in Akure, the state capital, Ebiseni described the Senate stance as petty, oppressive, distasteful, and unacceptable. He stressed that the handling of the Kogi Central Senator's case has further diminished the image of the upper chamber. He said the refusal to now allow her resumption, even after serving the excessive penalty, is not only oppressive against the senator, but also against the good people of Kogi Central who have been denied their constitutional representation. The Afenifere scribe urged the Senate to retrace its steps and uphold democratic principles, adding that Nigeria's lawmakers must rise above vindictiveness and safeguard the integrity of the legislature. The federal government has scrapped the 5% tax previously imposed on telecommunications services, including voice calls and data usage. The National Orientation Agency made this known in a post via its official X page. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Aminu Maida, disclosed that President Bola Tinubu ordered the removal of the tax during discussions on the recently passed Finance Act. The NCC boss noted that the move is expected to ease cost pressures for millions of mobile service users in the country. Media added that the president's intervention was aimed at preventing additional financial strain on citizens while supporting the digital economy. He said the development is expected to bring relief to over 171 million active telecom users across the country, many of whom have faced a 50% tariff increase implemented earlier. The tax, which applies to both voice calls and data subscription, was introduced under the administration of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. The 5% excise duty, which was first announced in 2022, has faced widespread criticism from both telecom operators and consumer rights groups who warned it would worsen the financial burden on Nigerians amid rising living costs. The government's justification then was part of its efforts to boost revenue generation amid dwindling oil earnings. The Ministry of Finance at this time argued that the levy was in line with global taxation practices. Telecom operators under the umbrella of the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria, ALTON, however, warned that the policy would be counterproductive. The Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, accused the Dangote refinery of reneging on the resolutions reached by all parties due to the industrial dispute with the management of the 650,000 barrels per day facility. President of the Union Williams Akporeha and General Secretary Afolabi Olawole made the declaration in a joint statement in Abuja, vowing to continue the strike if the matter is not resolved immediately. Specifically, NUPENG said that the management of the refinery had started removing the stickers of the union from its trucks and was compelling drivers to load despite complaints over flouting basic rules. The bank, which dropped the hint that it might resume the suspended strike action, alleged in a statement that in breach of the agreement reached, a representative of Dangote Refinery, Aliu Dantata, instructed all his truck drivers who have been NUPENG PDT members for several years to remove the union stickers from their trucks. NUPENG called on the federal government not to allow the Navy and other security agents being paid by the resources of the country to be used with impunity against the law and people of the nation. Meanwhile, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery had reaffirmed that association with any trade union remains strictly voluntary in accordance with the Nigerian Constitution and International Labour Organization Conventions (ILO). The company stressed that it neither interferes with nor restricts its employees' rights to freely join legally recognized trade unions. The statement was issued amid what the company described as distortion of fact by NUPENG concerning the refinery's trade relations with its workforce. The statement read that it is misguided to hold Dangote Petroleum Refinery responsible for individual drivers' decisions regarding union affiliations, adding that if NUPENG seeks to expand its membership, it should concentrate on creating value and credibility that encourages voluntary participation. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has revealed that 157 out of 171 associations which applied to be registered as political parties failed registration requirements. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, in a statement issued Thursday, said only 14 associations met the requirements and they have been cleared to proceed to the next stage of the registration process. The electoral body stressed that the interim chairman and secretaries of the pre-qualified associations has been invited to a briefing at the Commissioner's headquarters in Abuja. The 14 associations that scaled the first hurdle, according to INEC, were African Transformation Party (ATP), All Democratic Alliance (ADA), Advanced Nigeria Congress (ANC), Abundance Social Party (ASP), African Alliance Party (APP), Citizens Democratic Alliance (CDA). Others were Democratic Leadership Alliance (DLA), Grassroots Initiative Party (GRIP), Green Future Party (GFP), Liberation People's Party (LPP), National Reform Party (NRP), Patriotic People's Alliance (PPA), and People's Freedom Party (PFP. ComfortTV.channel news continues shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back to ComfortTV.channel's news on business. Stakeholders in the aviation industry have called on the Nigerian Revenue Service (NRS) to review its new tax reform as it pertains to the aviation sector so that it will agree with tax components of treaties and regulations Nigeria has signed with international aviation agencies. The stakeholders said that levies and taxes have been built into the air transport system, so new tax reform needs to take cognizance of international tax obligations in order to avoid double taxation in the sector. The matter came to fore during a business webinar organized by Aviation and Allied Business in collaboration with FRS on how the new tax reform affects the aviation industry. In his reaction to the presentation, the International Air Transport Association (IATA) representative for West and Central Africa, Dr. Samson Fatokun, explained that aviation is a global business and there are already different types of levies, taxes, and fees that are being paid by operators at both local and international levels. He also said that there are treaties signed by the Nigerian government that governs the global aviation industry, adding that Nigeria is a member of the International Civil Aviation Organization (ICAO) and that the country is subject to regulations with regards to taxation made by the body. He advised international transportation of passengers cannot be taxed, urging that Nigeria needs to consider the treaties it signed. He made reference to ECOWAS's supplementary tax document, stressing that ECOWAS is not introducing a supplementary tax on air passengers. Rather, it has approved a regional strategy to significantly reduce air travel costs within its member states by eliminating non-compliant taxes and implementing a 25% reduction in airport passenger and security charges starting January 1, 2026. Still on business, Deputy High Commissioner Alexander Temitope Ajayi said for Nigeria to balance trade with South Africa, there is need for diversification in the non-oil sector, such as mining, agriculture, and others. Ajayi stated this while playing host to the Media Innovation Program MIP cohorts. Representatives of MTN and Pan-Atlantic University PAU who have been in South Africa on a study tour. According to Ajayi, there was need for Nigerian businesses to expand their presence in South Africa as both countries continue to work collaboratively under the Binational Commission (BNC). He said there were lots of gains for Nigerians to tap from South Africa's advanced mining expertise, especially as the government of President Bola Tinubu was committed to diversification of the economy through solid minerals, blue and digital economies. Ajayi said Nigeria last year held its first critical minerals investment roadshow in Johannesburg, seeking South African partnership to develop its underutilized mining sector. Noting how South African companies across sectors were entrenched in Nigeria's economy, the envoy regretted that the reverse was the case in South Africa, with only Dangote Group and recently Access Bank as big Nigerian corporations operating in the country. On foreign news, the first set of Nigerians marked for deportation from the U.S. under President Donald Trump have left America. The Trump administration had approached a number of African countries to accept deportees as part of its push to deter immigration. President John Dramani Mahama of Ghana, while speaking in a press conference, said a group of 14 deportees, including Nigerians and one Gambian, have already arrived in Ghana and the government facilitated their return to their home countries. He said Ghana had already facilitated the return of the Nigerians to their country by bus, while the Gambian was still being assisted to return home. Some of those deported have been citizens of countries such as Jamaica, Vietnam, and Laos, with rights groups arguing that this violated their basic rights. Some groups have pushed back against the deportation strategy. Nigeria, which have been a vocal opponent, had previously said it would not bow to pressure to accept third country migrants from the U.S. In July, the U.S. deported 5 individuals to Eswatini and 8 others to South Sudan. Rwanda received 7 migrants deported from the United States in August, weeks after the two countries reached an agreement for the transfer of up to 250 people. And on sports, former Super Eagles captain John Mikel Obi has urged the federal government to dissolve the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) if the national team fails to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Speaking on the OB1 podcast, the ex-Chelsea midfielder criticized the NFF for what he described as poor leadership and disorganization, which he blamed for Nigeria's struggles in the ongoing qualifiers. Mikel recalled Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar and warned that history may repeat itself. The Super Eagles hope of reaching the 2026 Mundial named after a 1-1 draw against South Africa in Bloemfontein, leaving them third in their group, 6 points adrift of the leaders with just 2 games left, unless results swing dramatically in their favor. Nigeria faces missing out on back-to-back World Cups. And that's our news bulletin for today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Governor Oti says Abia opposition members lobbying for negotiation settlement. INEC validates Mark Aregbesola, others as ADC's national officers. And Natasha's suspension or face mass action, NLC wants Senate. Federal government scraps 5% telecom tax on voice and data services. Nopang Dangote frustrating resolutions reached at federal government brokered truce. And on business news, stakeholders disagree with new tax reform. On foreign, President Trump deports first set of Nigerians, and on sports, Mikel Obi, NFF should be disbanded. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed.